Hi guys, welcome back to yet another one. This is my first face-to-face video, or rather face-to-camera video. Face-to-camera to you guys on the other side. Today we're going to be talking about how to grow healthy, natural hair, as you've seen on the title of the video. And I'm going to go straight to the point. I'm not going to beat around the bush. The first point, and that's why I made it number one, you need to know your hair type. You need to know what porosity. I know I've spoken about this in different videos. I've spoken about your hair porosity. I've spoken about hair texture. That is the first step to knowing, to taking care of natural hair generally, because you can't be taking care of something that you don't know. And before I even go on, let me put out a disclaimer. I'm not the kind of person to tell you just you need to use these kind of products to grow your hair in a day, to grow your hair overnight. Honestly, that will not work. I'm a YouTuber, so I fall victim. I want to try out so many recipes. I see these and I want to try it out. So I'm not passing any judgment here. But guys, let me just let you know that you cannot grow your hair overnight. There's no product out there. Anybody who tells you that you're going to grow your hair overnight is a cap. I mean, it's just a lie. You need consistency. You need to know your hair type, and that's why I started with this point number one. What hair porosity basically means is your hair's ability to absorb moisture and retain it. There are three types of porosities. There's the low porosity, there's medium porosity, and there's also high porosity hair type. And how you know about your hair type, there's so many tests that you can do to determine your hair type. And the famous one that you do is by dipping a hair strand into water. So guys, shampoo your hair and rinse it out. Just before you condition it, pick a strand of hair like so and dip it into clean fresh water. If it floats, you have low porosity hair. If it sinks slowly and settles at the middle of the water, your hair is medium in porosity. And if it sinks quickly to the bottom, then you have high porosity hair type. Knowing your hair porosity is very important. As I've mentioned before, my daughter and I have low porosity hair, and porosity is determined by genetics, because like me, I have low porosity hair, and I noticed my daughter also has low porosity hair, so it's obvious she got it from me. But her hair type is different, the density is different, the volume is different. Mine is a bit weighed down, and even the type. Let me talk about the hair types as well. You can either have 1A, 1B, or 1C type of hair, to 4A, 4B, 4C. Yeah, you either fall into that category. And the hair type basically means the curl pattern of your hair. So if you have straight hair, you fall into the 1A, 1B, 1C category. And if you have very tight strands of hair, yeah, they're held up together, like your hair shrinks a lot, you fall into the 4C. So once you determine your hair porosity, then you can know how to take care of your hair, how to actually take care of your hair. Because for us, once I discovered that my hair porosity is low in porosity, and that means that the cuticles are tightly held up together. Yeah, the cuticles of my hair are like these, guys, if you can see these. So they're tightly held together. So that means that any product will be difficult to penetrate. So you have the hair has difficulty in accepting products like water, yeah, and that's why you have to, what I do to help with absorption, I just include heat. With heat I mean indirect heat. So I don't use direct heat on my hair. Direct heat is like blow dries and flat irons. So what I use is a steamer instead. I can steam my hair. And I also like to, once I apply my products, I can go out in the sun. I do this to my daughter as well, because I don't like a lot of heat on her hair. So once I apply the products, the heat helps to release, like the strands open up once you apply the products. Once you apply the heat, the cuticles open up and they're able to accept. There's low porosity hair, there's high porosity hair, and there's medium porosity hair. So low porosity hair, as I said before, it's hair that is, the cuticles are tightly held up, but all these types of porosity have good side and the bad side. Let me put it like that. And it doesn't mean that once your hair falls into a certain type of porosity that it's a bad type of porosity. I think there are disadvantages and advantages to each porosity type of hair, because for low porosity it's hard to accept products because the cuticles are tightly held up together. But again, once the products are like absorbed in the hair, they stick, like the hair does not dry out too fast. And for the medium porosity, I mean, medium porosity is the best porosity type to have, because it's on the, it's not on either extreme. Because high porosity hair tends to be hair that has been damaged by heat, by chemicals. Yeah, so it's always best to try and bring it down. But the good side about high porosity hair is the fact that it's able to accept products, because the cuticles again are not as held up as a low porosity hair. They are little loose, I think. Let me just use that term. Yeah. So the high porosity hair is, the cuticles are not very tightly held up together like the low porosity hair. So the high porosity hair is able to accept products. But then again, the low side of it is that the moisture escapes as fast as it comes in. As fast as the hair accepts the moisture is as fast as the moisture escapes from the hair. There are many other ways to test it, like by picking a strand of your hair and spraying some water on it. And if it forms water beads, yeah, like for us, the low porosity hair, the water beads settle on top of the hair, especially if it's cold water. The water beads just settle on top of the hair. But for the medium and the high porosity hair, the water is absorbed fast, but then it dries up fast as well. The next point that I'll be tackling about everything you need to know to grow your natural hair is the products, the methods you use, and the consistency. So guys, for the products, there's of course a hair routine that you have to adopt, because once you're taking care of hair, you have to wash it, you have to condition it, you have to leave in a conditioner in it, and you also have to put some oils, some butters. So once you've discovered what type of porosity you have, it'll be very easy to know what kind of products will actually work for your hair. Like for us, what I like to do is, the steps that I take is pre-pooing. Before washing our hair, I like to pre-poo our hairs. And pre-pooing basically means preparing our hairs before shampooing. So there are some products that I use to prepare our hair, and mostly I like to use natural products. If you've watched my aloe vera gel video, that is one of the pre-poos that I use on my hair and my daughter's hair. I like to use aloe vera because it has a lot of slip, and aloe vera is perfect. It's very good for all types of hair. So what I basically do is use pre-poos first, guys, and then there's shampoos. So the shampoos, you can either use a moisturizing shampoo if your hair is too dry, and you can also use a shellating shampoo, as I've mentioned in one of my videos before. A shellating shampoo is good, especially if you have hard water. It washes up, it strips up that mineral, the mineral builds up there. Shellating shampoos just clean your scalp. They just clarify your scalp completely. And there's also clarifying shampoos, which mostly are the best to use. I know they strip the hair of its oils, like they do a more thorough job, unlike the moisturizing shampoos. But it depends with the period of time that you take before washing your hair. Personally, we wash our hair every 2 to 3 weeks. For my daughter, I do 2 to 3 weeks. For my hair, it depends with whatever that's happening. Yeah, sometimes I work out and I find that I sweat a lot, so I have to wash my hair more often. And when I do that, I prefer a moisturizing shampoo. Remember, guys, even when your hair is, as you're taking care of your hair, you put some oils, you put some butters, and it ends up building up. You end up having a lot of buildup of oils, of butters, of dirt, of dust. If you're putting any protective style on your hair and it lasts more than 2 to 3 weeks, about a month, I know sometimes people like to, you don't want to keep doing your hair so often. So if you find a protective style that actually lasts for some time, it's good to use a clarifying shampoo to get rid of all the oil buildups, to make sure that your scalp is clean. Hair grows from the scalp, so your scalp has to be very clean all the time, and that's why we have to keep cleaning our scalps even after some time. So it doesn't matter what period of time it takes. I know some people like to do core washes as well, and a core wash is a wash in between the shampoo, in between your normal wash day routine. So you can just use to core wash, and apple cider vinegar is a very good product for core washes. So, and a core wash can be done even between 2 to 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. I mean, it all depends with you guys. And that's why I like to say, you guys, just do you. You don't have to adopt my routine. Whatever works for you and for your hair. If you feel like you need a wash, you're scratching, you have a lot of buildup. Yeah, for me, how I know that my hair actually needs a wash is when I start to scratch a lot. My scalp gets, I have a very oily scalp. So when my scalp gets so oily, I know that I need a wash, and I do a wash. Yeah, so it depends with what works for you guys. I like to advocate for you guys to do you. Yeah, whatever works for your hair. So I was talking about shampoos and the types of shampoos. So we mentioned shellating shampoos, we mentioned moisturizing shampoos. Moisturizing shampoos are very good, especially if you're doing a core wash and your hair gets stripped off of its natural sebum, of its natural moisture. Using clarifying shampoos might actually strip off all the oils in your hair, especially if you wash your hair so often, like after every 2 to 3 days or in a week. So the process that we like to take for our hair is pre-pooing, and then we shampoo, and then the next process, of course, is conditioning your hair. Just make sure that you condition your hair every time you wash your hair. It's very important to condition your hair every time you wash it, because once you wash it, the natural oils, the sebum, is stripped off. Yeah, your hair is dry at this point. So the conditioners just restore back that moisture to make sure that your hair is not as dry. So make sure that every time you wash your hair, you're doing a conditioner after. Personally, I like to use a deep conditioner instead. Conditioners are just basic conditioners, but which are good. You can also use a shampoo and a conditioner, but personally, I love to use deep conditioners because they restore back that moisture. I've done a video about one of the conditioners that I love to use on our hair. I love to use the rice deep conditioner. Deep conditioners are very good for your hair, especially if it's dry, if it tends to dry up a lot. Deep conditioners will restore back that moisture. And what I love to do with our deep conditioners, as I said earlier, because we have low porosity hair, so you find that our hair does not accept products. For my daughter, I like to apply the deep conditioner after shampooing, and then she goes and sits in the sun for some time and it soaks in. Yeah, for the conditioner, the difference between the conditioners and the deep conditioners is actually the conditioner, you just put it in the hair for about 5-10 minutes and then you rinse it off. But the deep conditioners, you can have them for some time. You can put them on your hair, which are the masks, the hair masks. So these ones you can leave in your hair for some time, like 2 hours. Sometimes you can even leave them overnight to make sure that they get absorbed in the hair. And if you've seen what I do before, like in the video I made about the rice and the coconut milk deep conditioner, I love to add some oil into my deep conditioners because that makes it more moisturizing. The oils that I add will moisturize my hair even more. So by the time I'm rinsing it off, remember guys, I like to use clarifying shampoos, and these shampoos strip off your hair's natural moisture. The next thing to use after that falls under the product category is leave-in conditioners or treatments. Yeah, once you wash your hair, you want to use a leave-in as well to restore back moisture as well. It adds some more moisture into your hair, and this moisture you're going to leave in, because remember guys, the deep conditioners, we rinse them off. So to restore back that moisture, you use leave-in conditioners. And personally, I love to use to make homemade versions of it. Sometimes I use store-bought versions, store-bought products to use for our hairs, but I find that when I make my own products naturally, they work better. And it can be either aloe vera leave-in or any store-bought leave-in conditioners or treatments. You can find one that's mixed up, that has a water phase and an oil phase. You can find one that's just a liquid phase. Yeah, if you're familiar with formulating products, you know that you can mix the water phase and the oil phase to make a cream, yeah? So you find some are creamy in texture, some are watery in texture, they're liquid. So all these will work. You just have to find out your type of hair, like like I said before, the hair porosity, so that you know which product will actually work for your hair, what kind of products your hair loves. For us, low porosity hair, we love, what works for us is aloe vera. Aloe vera works really well. Aloe vera is a humectant, and what a humectant basically means is that it draws moisture from the environment to lock in. It helps your hair to absorb moisture, yeah? It just locks in moisture from the environment. So you find that your hair does not dry up as much. And we also use glycerine. Glycerine is also a type of humectant. And guys, if you have 4C type of hair, and this one works for every type of hair, it doesn't matter what kind of porosity that you have, it will work for your hair. Just try this out, guys. Just try mixing water, just regular water. It needs to be fresh water, and a part of water and a bit of glycerine. It doesn't matter. For me, I don't even measure like what amounts. Just make sure that the water is more than the glycerine. Like if you're using a liter of water, and mostly I like to use warm water for our hair. Like I said earlier, heat is what helps our hair absorb moisture. So I like to use my products warm, or a little, I heat my products a bit before I put them on our hairs to help our hair absorb the moisture even better. If you're using like a liter of water, which is fresh, just try adding about 2 tablespoons of glycerine. Mostly I love to use the one from, if you're here in Kenya, you can look for the Alisons brand, but there are so many other types of glycerine out there. So you can mix that with water, and it's so good for your hair, guys. Your hair will love it, even your daughter's hair. If your daughter has very coarse hair, just use some water, you mix it with a bit of glycerine, and come back here with the results, and comment down below when you do that, guys. So the next thing that I love to use for our leave-in is aloe vera. I like to use aloe vera. If you've seen the aloe vera gel that I've made, if I have the fresh leaves, I'll use that. But if I don't have it, I'll also use this store-bought one. And I love to use the Fruit of Wokali brand. I find it's very hydrating. Guys, here it is. So this is how it looks. This is very good for our hair. And I also mix this up with a bit of water. I also love to use rose water, the natural rose water. Yeah, this is very good. Even for face, guys. This, when you spray it on your hair, it's very good. I also use the Alisons brand. It's very good for hair. So what you're talking about here is leave-in or sprays. And the method that I love to use on our hairs, once I wash it, I love to use the LCO. So the LCO method basically stands for liquid, cream, and oil. Some people prefer to use the LOC, LCO, LO, LC, whatever works for your hair, guys. Just go with that, yeah? After the methods is the consistency, and of course I've talked about this. Consistency is key to growing anything. Even me growing this channel, guys, it has taken so much, and it's still taking a lot of, growth, and it's not exponential growth. It's not something that will happen overnight. It's something that you really have to work hard on. You have to be consistent with. Anything that will grow takes time, takes effort, takes consistency. So if you're consistent with all these methods and all these, if you learn your hair and are consistent with the methods that you choose for your hair, trust me, you're going to see results. Our wash day routine, guys, is very simple. You can have a very simple wash day routine that will still work for you. And I don't want to tell you to wash your hair after every 2 to 4 weeks like we do. For us personally, we wash our hair every 2 to 4 weeks. It varies depending on the style, depending on the activities, as I said earlier. So if I'm going to be working out, I'll wash my hair often. And if the weather is a bit cold, when it's very cold, our hair tends to dry out a lot. So I tend to wash our hairs less than when it's hot. Of course, when it's hot, the hair is prone to sweating, dust build up, so we tend to wash our hairs more often. So guys, for our wash day routine, the first thing that we love to do is to pre-poo our hair, and I use oils or creams or my aloe vera gel, like I mentioned before in one of my videos. We use that to pre-poo our hair, and basically what a pre-poo does is just strip off all the dirt. Most of the times I love to include some coconut oil in my hair or my daughter's hair, and once we do that, if you use a hot oil treatment on your hair like the day before washing your hair, that makes sure that your hair is not stripped of the moisture. Remember, we'll be washing it, especially if you're using a clarifying shampoo. Your hair is going to be very dry by the time you're done washing it. And also, if you have very high porosity hair, it's very good, whatever type of hair that you have, it's very good to always pre-poo your hair. If you've had a hairstyle for some time and it has lasted for some time, remember you've not been combing your hair, so your hair is prone to breakage because it might be dry. So I love to be safe by using a pre-poo, which is I use oils, I use the aloe vera gel. This has very good sleep, guys. It restores the moisture back in our hair, and mostly I love to leave it overnight so that the hair absorbs the moisture very well. And for us, I love to use pre-poo oil or gel or whatever I use. Mostly I use the oils like coconut oil, olive oil, or if I don't have that, or if I don't want to use any oil, I use my aloe vera gel, which is the fresh leaf, or I also use the gel itself, the store-bought one. Depends with whatever you have. There are so many products out there that you can use to pre-poo your hair, but oils are very good because they strip off all that dirt and build up. So by the time you're washing it, your hair is moisturized, it's not too dry, it will not break as much. Some people think that the hair doesn't grow. Yeah, I've been a victim. I've fallen victim to this. You might think your hair is not growing because every time your hair grows, yeah, the hair grows from the roots. So there's always fresh. It's just like your nails. Every time you cut your nails, they grow back. It's the same thing that happens to hair. So once your hair grows from the root, you think it's not growing because the length is not, it's not becoming long, yeah? And what you're forgetting you're not doing is taking care of the hair that is already out, because the hair that's coming out from the root, there's no problem with that. It's going to grow either way. If it breaks, it's going to grow. But how you're actually maintaining the length that you already have and making sure that it's not breaking as much, that is what's going to contribute to hair growth, yeah? At the end of the day, that is what's going to contribute to how much length you end up retaining. Because if you're not taking care of the length that you already have by moisturizing it, by treating it kindly, you know, the hair, I tend to look at hair as it has three parts. So there's the root part, there's a middle part, and there's the ends of our hair. The ends of our hair have been here longer, yeah? Like here in Kenya, we like to say zimekula chumvi. The ends of your hair zimekula chumvi, yeah? They've been here for some time, yeah? So you have to show them some love. You have to show them extra love, some more TLC than you show to the roots of your hair, because your roots of your hair will, obviously, they'll always grow. But the hair that you already have, you need to make sure that the hair that has been here for some time, you need to make sure that you're actually taking care of it by moisturizing it. It tends to be more dry, so you need to oil it more, because it tends to be it tends to dry out more than the root part of the hair. So you need to take care of the hair that you already have by detangling it, by oiling it before you wash it, to prevent a lot of breakage, yeah? Because you find, like, when you're undoing your hair, if you've had a protective style for some time and you're undoing it, like in the salons here in Kenya, I don't even know what happens. If you go there and you've had hair like 4 months old, I mean 4 weeks old, a month old, most protective styles, I think they last in between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what protective style you've done on your hair. So you find if they're not very patient with your hair, it ends up breaking so much. So you end up not retaining any length at the end of the day. Yeah, your hair is growing, but since you're not taking care of the hair that you already have, it ends up breaking a lot. Yeah, tangles. And something else that helps to prevent the hair from breaking a lot is cutting off your split ends. Yeah, cutting off hair is good, and I like to do mine every 4 to 6 months. every year. Like in a year, I cut my hair about 3 times, and I don't mean I cut a lot. I just cut the split ends. And what happens is that the split ends, once they're there, they divide. Because if your hair is growing long, like from down, yeah, let me show you guys. So if your hair is growing like this, yeah, if this is the length that you have and you don't cut the ends, so it will end up splitting, yeah. And once it splits, it will end up going upper, you know, instead of growing straight down, it will end up splitting. Like if you see this, my hair needs a cut at this point, yeah. There are some splits here. I don't know if you guys can see them. Yeah, so if I don't end up chopping it, I'll chop like this much by the time I'm chopping it, yeah, to prevent these split ends from going all the way up. Yeah, because that what happens is that they go all the way up and you end up cutting more hair than you'd have cut it if you cut it at the, if you nipped it at the back, guys. It's always good to cut the split ends of your hair to prevent it from stagnating. So we spoke about trims. You need to trim your hair every so often, and it'll depend with your hair. I wouldn't say that you need to trim your hair every 2 to 3 months like I do, or 4 months. Myself, if I start noticing some tangles on my hair, or my daughter's hair as well, and the hair doesn't come out as much, and they also tend to dry up so much. If you have split ends, you find that the color of the hair is different at that particular part of hair. You find maybe it turns more brown. Like if the other parts of the hair look healthy and black and dark, if you have natural hair that is not colored, the ends tend to be a different color. They tend to brown a lot. So that's around the time that you know you need to cut off. Something else that will prevent your hair from growing, or that will make or break your hair growth journey, is whatever styling method that you choose to use. So styling methods are very many out there, especially for natural hair. I know natural hair is a lot of work to maintain. The products are also not cheap, especially if you're formulating your own products at home. I know it can be a little expensive, a bit on the higher side, but there's always a plus, yeah, because you're taking care of your hair naturally and you're owning it, yeah. And what I love to install, especially in my daughter, is for her to love her natural hair and to not want to treat it when she's older. I want her to be proud of her roots, to not bow to any pressure. I want her to be very proud of whatever crown God has gifted her with. Whatever protective style that you choose, you also need to take care of it the same way you take care of your hair when it's not in a protective style. Like if you just choose a wash and go, you have to oil it, you have to moisturize it, you have to hydrate it. The difference between protective hairstyles and low manipulation hairstyles is the fact that for a protective hairstyle, you can do either cornrows, you can do braids, just normal braids. But for a low manipulative hairstyle is actually one that you won't have to pull on your hair. Remember, when you have braids on, like what we call them here in Kenya, we call them rastas, yeah. You can choose rastas for your hair, or just for braided hair, like twist outs and stuff. So you find if your hair is down, you keep, you know, styling it in different styles. Today I want to do like a ponytail, tomorrow I want to let my hair down. You know, that's a protective style, but you still have to manipulate it at the end of the day, yeah. So low manipulative hairstyles are hairstyles that actually keep your hair the way it is for some time. Like if I fix a ponytail or a bun on my hair, I won't manipulate my hair. I'll just spray it and keep going, yeah, with time until I repeat the process, the wash process again, the wash routine process. So a low manipulative hairstyle, you don't manipulate your hair much, and mostly low manipulative hairstyles tend to tuck in the ends of the hair, yeah. So because the ends of your hair are prone to losing moisture more than the other parts of your hair, the middle part of your hair and the root part of your hair. So if you want a protective hairstyle or a low manipulative hairstyle that is going to protect your hair for some time, your ends need to be tucked in. Your ends need to be hidden away. And that's the only way you notice any kind of growth. Otherwise, if you choose these hairstyles that pull on your hair strands, that pull on your edges, you know, that are very tight, avoid tight hairstyles. And something else that I forgot to mention is heat. Yeah, heat can be good, especially for other types of hair which are not like my type of hair. For me, heat is terrible for my hair because, as I mentioned earlier, I have very light hair. It's low in porosity. The texture is quite soft, so it ends up breaking a lot if I use a lot of heat. But for my daughter, I noticed that because she has a full head of hair, her hair is a little different. The texture is different from mine. Mine is silky, hers is a little coarse. So you find that there's some things that work for her hair that may not work for my hair. And how I've learned about this is over time. Yeah, you have to, it's trial and error at the end of the day, guys. It's trial and error. You have to try these things and know what will actually work for your hair. You can't actually know without trying. So for her personally, I've seen that for her, her hair can withstand some heat, although I don't like to do a lot of heat like blow dryers. You know, like it depends with what the method that you're using at the end of the day. Like I said, whatever works for your hair. If you see that heat helps, especially for absorbing the products that you use on your hair, you can try it out, well and good. But if heat doesn't work for your hair, if it causes damage to your hair, it's good to just cut it out. I hope, guys, that whatever information that I shared today is going to be helpful to your hair journey. I wish you all the best in growing out your hair. If you have any questions, as always, you can always leave a comment for me down on the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer it. And if you enjoyed this video, just give me a big thumbs up. That will help to get my video to reach other people who might benefit from this information. And also make sure that you press that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications if you haven't yet. Share this video with your friends and your family.
Thank you for watching. See you on my next one.